great honor to be here and share some of the experiences that I have and thinking about digital forensics. So again, as Asher introduced about me, I am Choo. I'm originally from South Korea, and my first name is Kyungseok, and a lot of people did not pronounce correctly, and I just said, okay, just say simple and easy. First letter of my first name and last name, so KC. That's what my colleagues address me. Again, pleasure to talk about some challenges based on my observations and experience. And this is especially means a lot to me to be here because of the ISDFS I have known for a while, and the Austin and other people that I talked about how we can collaborate together. After this. Me, as I am Associate Dean of the School of Social Sciences, Communication and Humanities at Endicott College. Endicott College is about 30 miles north of Boston. It's just oceanside. Those who have never been in Endicott before, the summertime is the best time. We have a beautiful ocean, and we have 3 private beaches too. So our students want to have a really good hot day. They just sunbathing outside and enjoy our private ocean beaches. And Wentworth Institute of Technology is kind of to me. I graduate Northeastern. So when I was in Northeastern in 1995, which is almost 30 years ago, I was a master's student in criminal justice. So I knew, and this is a kind of my former institution that I always passing by. So I'm very familiar with WIT. So I'm again very glad to visit here today. So this is what's going on right now in Endicott. And I'm going to share a little bit about a lot of international collaborations and partnerships and what we do. And as I said, I have my discipline is nothing to do with computer science or engineering. I am a criminologist. And I'm going to talk about what it means and how we're going to collaborate with people whose background is engineering or data science or computer science. And we do work very well and collaborate together. So this morning, we started in April 21st and 24th. And even this morning that I have an opening session of my own international conference, like here. And we have about 22 delegates from 17 different countries. They are all in campus right now since April 21st. And today is actually the last day. We have a full agenda and we talk about a lot. And I'm going to talk about what it means and what we are doing. That's the actual one of the picture that we have the other day at the conference. People from Bulgaria or from Croatia, Serbia, from Colombia, again, 16 different countries from Latin America and Eastern Europe and Asia. And we are talking a lot about, because of my background as a criminologist, we're talking a lot about human trafficking. We're talking a lot about drug trafficking. For example, the cocaines that was cultivated and shipped from Colombia to Argentina, and Argentina to shipped to to Spain, and from Spain to go all the way Europe. So we're talking about the international collaborations. And I'm going to get to the point about what these things are relevant today to digital forensics and what we do and why we needed to collaborate. Not only human trafficking or drug trafficking, but also there are the sessions about post-war in Ukraine. So it's been 3 years in the war. There is a lot of talk, how they're going to end the war, but we are not talking about those processes. We are preparing and talking about what we're going to do after the war, okay? And there's a lot of things going on even right now in Ukraine. For example, weapon trafficking. There are a lot of weapons. Once the war is ended, it's left over, and the organized crimes, taking over, and there's a lot of businesses going on. Not only human trafficking, but human trafficking is related to migrations. People from Syria, they try to coming over to the Europe's, and in all those crises, during those migration crisis, you see a lot of human trafficking, labor trafficking. So we talk a lot about the security issues. It's all about how we're going to collaborate. Those things cannot be addressed by one single nation. Migration issues, human trafficking issues, drug trafficking issues, organized crime groups, drug cartels from somewhere in small towns of North Colombia and connected to this Arabia in Europe. It cannot be addressed by single nation's effort, and that's what I'm going to talk about, how important it is. I traveled a lot in different countries. So this is the last summer. Around this time, I visited Argentina. The pictures up there is about pretty much similar here in DEA, Drug Enforcement Administrations. That's the only thing they do in that a particular force. They actually cover their the mouth, their face, because they can be targeted as drug cartels. So, but they are heavily armed. They are police force we're talking about, and interestingly, the lady in here, she is in charge of that force. So I've seen, women's leadership are very strong, but also we have visiting here is the police academy. These are the students of the future police officers in there, and I talked to some of the senior administrations of the police agencies. And this is one thing that it's Colombia National Police Academy. They talked about, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about, what we are doing here in America and how we can actually collaborate together in different countries. So my background, a little bit about how I can get into this digital forensics and cybercrime. Originally, I got my dissertations about the gangs and Asian gangs, and that's the organized group patterns, crimes. Then about 6 years ago, the former university that I belonged to, they have a cybersecurity program. It's pretty well stabilized, pretty strong, and I was the director of financial crime and compliance graduate program, and we worked quite well. And I'm going to talk about why the finance crime is relevant or related to what we're doing here. Everything is money related. Drug trafficking, organ trafficking, or human trafficking, all these activities, they do this because it's a business. So when we try to looking for any organized crime groups or the patterns of crime, we say follow the money. Then you will see who is behind it, right? So I was a former director of a financial crime investigation and compliance program, and then we worked together. But then I realized that all these kind of traditional crimes, now moving into cyberspace or very digitalized it. So when we train our police officers, when we train the people, we, again, in this kind of classroom, we're talking about how do you respond when somebody call 911. You know, I have somebody break into my house and try to, threaten me. And that kind of, response, police arrive, and then most of the time you see the police turn on their body-worn camera. Almost every police at the local level or state, they have this body-worn camera. And that body-worn camera is rolling upon their call, and once they arrived they started to capture the crime scenes. And then they talking to the victims or witnesses or potential attackers. They also looking for what? The most important first step is preserve the crime scene. You don't want to, we're talking about digital forensics too. What does that mean, the forensics? How important it is, the evidence. The evidence that we're typically collecting, blood samples, the bullets, the guns, the knives, or anything that we are doing it's all digitalized. In old days, in the court, we bring the blood samples and try to show. But all those things, again, now being digitalized. Not only that, many crimes today is committed in cyberspace, and I'm talking about those things. So in 2018, we worked with some people in the cybercrime departments at the Eureka at the time that I was, and then we're talking to the Boston University. We're also talking to the University of Texas, San Antonio. They have, a pretty, strong programs over there. I wish I knew Wentworth at the time so that we can partner with the Wentworth Institute for this grant. So we submitted it. This is under U.S. Department of Justice. Again, my background is criminology, so I do not apply I'm always applying either departments of justice programs or homeland security. So those are the areas, and I'm going to introduce what does that mean about the BJA. The Bureau of Justice Assistance is one of the biggest, the unit under U.S. Department of Justice. What they do is that they provide this supporting grant like us. So this grant is about the Student Computer Forensics and Digital Evidence Education Program, meaning that we are preparing for the future. Current law enforcement officers, again, police officers, they do not educate it about how do you preserve, how are you going to collect, how are you going to process the digital evidences. Not only police officers, prosecutors, who is prosecuting the cases, they do not understand some of the terms, which is very specialized at. Can you imagine the juries, those are the lay person, you may be asked to come to the court to serve your duty. If you are the U.S. citizen, then you will be summoned to serve as a jury time to time. I got a number of times that I got invited, not invited. It's not really invitation. It's actually demanded you have to be there or responding at. But imagine those juries, the lay person who doesn't have even criminal justice background, who doesn't really have any engineering background, and they will hear all those digital forensic terms, they might say, okay, what is going on? And I'm going to tell you the importance of evidence in criminal evidence from the background of a legal standpoint, and why is it challenging and how is it getting into digital forensics, especially international collaboration. So I will just give you a quick example. So we have a situation about child pornography or the video clips online. It's everywhere. There's a lot of child sexual exploitations, and there are, as you might imagine, there are a lot of undercovers in cyberspace. There's a lot of criminals out there, but there's a lot of undercover operations from the police side. So they don't say, oh, I'm the FBI, I'm the DA, I'm the Secret Service, I'm going to investigate you in the cyberspace. No one tells. But there are a lot of operations. So when they detect some sort of cyber crime, or in this case, a cyber child sexual exploitation, for example, then you go and identify and tracking, again, the locations, and you monitoring it, and then you finally arrest that person. A lot of times, what's happening is that that person who got arrested for that kind of suspicious activities, they never gonna say, yes, I did. Of course I did. Please arrest me. No, they all first deny. Even though you see a lot of crimes that the criminal investigation, police officers were not able to observe it when crime was happening at that point. If it is perfect, the scenario for from law enforcement officers, the crime was happening in front of my eyes, and we just got arrest those people. But it never happened. 99% is after the fact. After crime was committed, victim or witness or somebody call 911. And then they will come, and that's the process started it. And that's why I said it's very important to preserve evidence. Now, what's happening in the court? The digital evidence, especially. In the court, whether you are lawyer, whether you are prosecutor, you will never be in crime scene. You're not there. Even police officers, they were not there. You never seen what really happened. But these two people, victim and offender, something happened in there about their statements or their arguments. It's collide. It's completely opposite of the fact that something happened. Can you imagine that? Now you are bringing these people, their imagination. They never been in crime scene. It's your job as a prosecutor, making sure that you convicted this guy who did something terrible. And from the defense side is that you do your best to save your clients. And I'm going to tell you the difference. The best lawyers, just in mediocre lawyers, there's a lot of lawyers. And best lawyers know how to crack the laws and how to save their clients. Even they all know my clients are 100% guilty, but they're making not guilty out of that. And that's why it's so important about the evidence that you are preserving and processing yet. Again, even judge, when you're listening, complete opposite side of the prosecutions and defense, he or she never been there either. Now you're just collecting. Sometimes we call about where is justice? There's no justice because you've never been there. It's just about fair process. And that's why very important. Criminal justice systems or the court systems is not about to bring the justice. It's about fair process. Both victims side, offender side, they have equal right to defending themselves under the law. And that's what we're going into. The evidence, what we call procedural law, which is critical. Not about who did or what happened or what damages, but how you process the under the law, the giving the equal right for both sides. So and that's kind of, giving you the background, where I'm coming from, why it's important to understand this new digitalized world and the crime that was happening in cyberspace. So we applied it, the grant, and we received it, about $1 million, less than about 4 years. But something happened during 2019, the COVID. So it's a little bit, we got some situations, about a year, all the plans that we had a little bit changed, but we were able to complete it. And we developed a full program for the undergraduate and graduate, the integrating cybersecurity, digital forensics, and also just forensic science in general, designed to educate and train future police officers who will deal with all these kind of, the cyber crimes or must know about the digital forensics. Then we have another grant. This is a training. So I will tell you a little bit about these things. Same groups also applied different. The BJA is Bureau of Justice Assistance. This is also under the, Department of Justice. But OJJDP, and this is under DOJ too, the Department of Justice, but this office's primary job is about young people, protecting young people, and train and finding out everything about young people, which means the OJJDP stands for Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquent Prevention. And we got another a little less than $500,000 of the grants to develop training programs for ITAC investigation. I want to talk about what this means, the ITAC. This ITAC is the task force in the United States, and they are investigating a lot of cyber crime. But what we are in charge of developing the training programs on IoT and OSINT, means the open source intelligence, and dark web investigations and crypto investigation. So this is the group that we developed training and programs, and we also trained, but not all of them. We just test the pilot, and we provide all our materials over to U.S. Department of Justice, and those courses are now disseminated. So ITAC stands for Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. This ITAC has a national networking. Every state must have ITAC task force. Some states have multiple ITAC, like for example, California. They have 5 different task force. Total 61 task forces exist in the United States, representing over 5,000 federal, state, local law enforcement agencies. We have more than I think 26,000 officers are under this task force, which is quite a lot of people dedicated at every local level, state, and national. So our job is, again, develop these trainings, modules. I'm going to talk about those things, and then we test it out, and then giving away to the task forces. So those are the actual we did last year here at Endicott. So first was OSINT investigation. This is about the cybercrime investigations in cyberspace, and how you, again, same thing, whether it's going to be in physical world or in cyberspace, you needed to preserve the criminal evidence to prosecute those people, right? So those are the things that we developed. It's 2 days, and pretty much 9 to 5 sessions. And one is OSINT in open source. I'm gonna introduce a little bit about the OSINT later on. And then we also have in the dark web investigation. tools and also the trainings, what they're looking for and how they're going to collect evidence in the dark web and cryptocurrency. And imagine yourself that you are drug traffickers, you are organized crime groups, trafficking large number of Syrian refugees from, one of the crisis areas. You have, again, the group of people from Uruguay or Colombia. They want to come over to the United States, and then they will contact with, smugglers or traffickers. When they're dealing with whether it's drugs or whatever, in the cyberspace, they don't use a credit card. Can you imagine? Anybody can use a credit card to payments or when they're receiving money? Nobody. So they also must know about the crypto because all those, and then we will talk about why it's so challenging to build legal framework in an international space because some countries completely banned it. Some countries, wildly, open and increased for the cryptocurrencies. So there's a lot of things going on, and it's going to be all different aspects of challenges. So this is the actual groups. So we have last year in this group. We have federal agencies. We have a DEA, drug enforcement agencies. We have state police in Massachusetts. We have some local police officers. And I did not know the U.S. Department of Energy, they have special agents too. They also came to learn about these techniques in there. So this is about 5 different sessions, and then we have I think over 200 people coming because this is hands-on. We cannot do 100 people coming, and then so we have to have a maximum 30 people in each day training, and we show where to go, what tools we use, and we also collaborate. These are the groups. Some of the people are not a U.S. Not a police officers. They are corporate. They have tools. And I'm going to introduce, Multagos, that's based in Europe and Germany. These are the groups from, they called Shadow Dragons. The Shadow Dragon is another platform to many U.S. law enforcement officers use, but they are pretty expensive. And we're going to talk about those things too. How we can actually, work together, not only U.S., not only police officers, but academians and corporate business, and also beyond the U.S. This is a very complicated process, and that's what I learned here. Originally, I thought it was simple. I just developed the curriculum, we worked together, and we just, gave the training. But it's more than that, and I think that's why this conference that was, having at different locations in communicating and coordinating, collaborating with other other academians come together from different countries and, work toward better collaborations from international perspective. So multiple things. First, now let me just get back. I know I have 20 minutes. I think we're going to just cover, and that's my background and why I was into digital forensics. I still do not have any deep knowledge about the computer science. I try to, while I'm working with many computer scientists, engineers to develop those courses, I try to learn. I took a lot of courses myself. About 2 years, and then I gave up. Oh my God, this is too much. I don't think that I'm gonna go to do something like new computer science or data science. So I just, okay, I'll probably have another job, which is my original background. I know a little bit about the legal aspects, how we're gonna communicate with legal professionals, such as prosecutors or judges or police officers. Let me do what I used to do it at, in the areas, but bring in experts outside the legal profession, such as cybersecurity, data science, and computer engineers, and then work together. So I know a little bit about this side, and a little bit about that side, and also international the audience. That's why I was just showing you visiting different countries and share what we are doing. I'm sharing not only what we have done, what challenges we had just within the United States. The local police, state police, federal, they work together, but a lot of times it's not that simple. There's a lot of power struggle inside. Who's gonna leading it? This is our case. This is so there's a lot of things. There's collaboration issues. Anyway, not only that, but we have this rapid technology. I've been very hard to catching up about this technology evolution. And that is directly affecting our current legal codes. Because our laws, criminal laws or procedure laws, never reflecting about these technologies. They have no idea. Okay, so somebody, what if that, this is the AI, control and, damaging and then doing some kind of terrible things. What if that, somebody coming from Russia or somebody from, North Korea doing something, we're gonna send the FBI over there and arrest them? There's a lot of issues regarding this technology which has borderless. So our professionals, when I'm talking about the police officers or the data scientists or computer engineers, we have to must balance and work together to have a good understanding about what does that mean investigating. When you looking at some suspicious activities, what does that mean? And there is you as a trained professionals working with the FBI or in the Secret Service, you do not act like criminals. Meaning that you can just break into somebody's, hacking, the computers, or that's what, the hackers do. But you as a law enforcement officers, even though you know how to do it, but you do not do that, even you are investigating it. So there's a clear line, because if you do so, we will talk about evidence admissibility. If that evidence that you collected illegally, even though you are police officers or law enforcement agents, you are not able to submit it. That means you cannot use that to convict that person. It's a very important process about not every evidence is evidence. A lot of evidence, especially defense team, who knows a lot about these loopholes. The police officers could make mistakes. That's the best lawyers. They're not going everything. They're just going one thing. They see that, they grab it, and then just, they drop the case. It's not because their client's innocent, but because they know the problems of these police officers. They did not take properly. So there's a lot of things. In jurisdiction, like I said, there's a lot of issues of, can I send somebody to Colombia just arrest drug cartel? We do. There's a lot of these jurisdictional agreements, the treaties, I'm going to talk about briefly later on. But there's a lot of things and privacy issues as well. So then we try to cover about, what it means to be as a digital forensic experts or lawyers and policymakers, and how we can actually work together to build a sort of an effective standard. So we all agree, this is the procedure we just go and then disseminate, because you have to educate people and then work together for the the many cases that we are investigating. So Technology itself gives us a lot of headaches as digital forensic experts or the law enforcement officers, such as AI. Blockchain is a lot of headaches. So we're going to talk about those things when we talk a little bit about the cryptocurrencies. Okay, there are tools out there, but this is very, very challenging. So blockchain and Internet of Things. I mean, there's a lot of those things beyond what we can catching up, and so we are always still behind that. And especially, like I said, that they were not able to properly train. Therefore, they were not able to preserve this, the digital evidence in the court. And these challenges are actually leading to the current laws that we have, or always struggle to keep up with these technologies. Technology is always advanced, and our legal teams always behind it. For example, I wonder Wentworth might have AI policy for the students who's using AI for their assignments or whatever. We are struggling about that. We're talking every day, and we are so behind that. Well, I'm talking about as an administrator at the Antigua College, and each college is, within even the Antigua, we have different opinions. Some departments, the faculty just strongly encouraged to use them. Some are completely banned it. Even some of the adjunct faculty members or full-time faculty in the same departments, they have different ways to deal with it. Now imagine that, even those cases within our own small community do not have a particular way to deal with it. So these things, again, creating very uncertainty in evidence collection and admissibility. That's the issue, because they have different ways to deal with this kind of digital evidence collections. And the black box problems. I think you know better than me about the black box, the problems in AI. In the legal procedure, like I said, it's not about justice or who did what or who committed a crime. It's more about, as a judge, as a prosecutor, I never been in crime scene. I'm always what? Collecting and listening, right? So in our job, it's the most important process, and that's why we have a procedural law or the evidence collection. It's because fairness and transparency. Have a fully understand the arguments or rationale behind the legal defense team or behind the prosecutor's team. And as long as they give me, again, one team has better evidence or better way to making the case to their own, the benefits, the judges will go one side against the other. Again, it's all about transparency, all about fairness, the procedure. But once you do in AI, which is, a lot of people talking about black box problem is that we don't know how these AI is giving you the answer. The answer, the response is great. I love these, the responses. I love it. But there's no way to figure it out. Even you are the experts in AI, and today you talk to people, they couldn't figure it out. How AI come up with that response. And that's problem in the legal situation. It's not about the answer. It's not about response. We need to follow through all the process, what happened to these. You have a multiple criminal evidence, maybe 100 different criminal evidences that you put together, and then you making arguments for your own the benefits, and then you show the prosecutors or judges. At the end, that's why you are innocent or that's why you are guilty. But you don't know this process. Everything is just, disappear. And then you have a great outcome, which is very appealing. Therefore, this is another problem of the reliability and transparency and forensic evidence. So technology evolution is great in helping us and in our lives. but also this gives us many problems. Therefore, we continuous update for the legal frameworks, which is sometimes very difficult, and that's what we are we're faced right now. So courts in the criminal court situations, they try to bring the many policies and bring many experts to fairly and sort of more openly and accurately evaluate digital evidence. But this is, again, that's one of the major problems. And this emerging technologies continues in these areas from the digital forensic experts' perspective about the encryption. This is more difficult for, even though there are many advanced, well-trained, the detectives in these areas, they constantly need to, upgrade, and also, even though you have, some skill sets or tools, because of the security issues and the private issues, you may not really want to get into. Even though if we coming into and access that a particular area or the data or platform, I know we will get a lot of information about who is behind this and what are the victims there and the damages. But you are so afraid if you want to break into it because of these the balance issues about the privacy, especially even though they are to your mind as a convicted criminals. He is, or they are organized crime groups. They are hire people to kill, or they are doing all those trafficking in weapons or drugs, but still you're not able to do those many different blockchain analysis is another thing that I was talking about. Most of the cybercrime crimes or that the people are engaged in and using the cryptocurrency. So we needed to have more experts in the cryptocurrency, the analysis and investigations, and AI. As I just said, AI is something that is concerning us. It's great in helping us, our law enforcement officers, but at the same time, it's quite challenging about the process. We need the process of the AI's outcome, or this is something else that we are so behind, or we're not able to explain what really happened. And IoT, as I said, there's many tools. Even my house, I have a lot of cameras in here, and also many tools. I have all Google and Amazon, speakers. So those are the things that we always, wandering around. And think about this, cell phone. In today's, we do one of the courses that we developed is about the mobile digital forensics and clouding forensics. This is but still, these devices are advance so fast, and so that's what I'm really worried about. But besides all these areas that I just talked about, I got the 5 minutes. I got to a little bit fast in here. So imagine all these things that I just talked about. But when I was in Colombia, there was Argentina or Panama. They were saying, what are you talking about? They really want to have these things to train their own police officers. They have the same problems as we have. They have a lot of problems in cyberspace. They have a lot of crimes committed by the organized crime groups, but they are so behind it. But the thing is that many Colombian cartels using their networking and smuggling people and weapons and also drugs, but it's very difficult to collaborate, especially that connections were happening in Europe. and then also United States, and then also connecting with Asia. Fentanyl, for example. Fentanyl crisis. I don't know how many of you know about what happened in the United States for the last couple of years. Every year, we almost lost 100,000 people for the last couple of years. That's what we call national crisis, fentanyl. If this amount, the tiny bit of amount of fentanyl, if you have no idea what that it is, and just take it, and that one pill kills you. So in the United States, we have the campaigning, which is called One Pill Kills You. One pill can kill. So you typed it, and then you will see all these national campaigning about the fentanyl. So do they care about this fentanyl? Who is making the original source of the fentanyl, according to the federal law enforcement investigation, is coming from China. And they just shipped it, and then they ship where? In Mexico. And then just, they collect it, just, it's very simple and easy to make it. They just mix it up and just creating it. It's a pill, small pill. And then easy to, and then it's very powerful. So, and then what happened? They shipped to where? In the United States. And they shipped to where? To Canada. And those fentanyl crises now is getting to we've seen some many cases in Mexico right now. It has not hit in Latin America yet. Still, they are using cocaines more than fentanyl, but we believe it's coming sometime soon. We believe this fentanyl is coming to Europe pretty soon. That's what we are talking about right now in Indica with these groups together. How we're going to educate our law enforcement officers, train about the fentanyl, how we're going to collaborate together before what happened, what happened in the United States. We don't want to lose, see 100,000 people every year are dying because of fentanyl in Europe or Latin America. So our goal here is that to understand what it is, how we're going to collaborate together, but it's not that simple and easy. Again, we have some issues about the legal agreements and who's leading it, how we're going to collaborate within the different legal system, and the jurisdictional authority. Even though we identified the head of the organized crime and arrested it, who's going to in charge of a prosecutor? United States perspective, we want that person coming in here under our law, and we prosecute that person because that person is responsible for the over 100,000 people's the death for last year, for the last couple of years because of the the fentanyl. But is it that simple? No. There's a lot of the issues in the Colombian or in the Mexican or even they don't want to send unless there is So there are many jurisdictional issues, and the borderless digital evidence is the case because fentanyl is the materials. But when you set in the fentanyl business, like I said, every organized crime business is involved in what? Money. And money is going around to cross border lines. So there's a lot of issues, and because of those differences in legal standards, even though there is international collaborations such as mutual legal agreements treaties, that was one of the powerful treaties, MLATs. For example, in the United States, we have about 60 nations under MLAT, Mutual Legal Assistance Treaties, which is what it means, the cross-border search agreements. However, it's only 60 countries. Even with the 60 countries that we have, if you have followed this procedure, then it takes like 6 months until you get all what you're looking for from Mexico or some other. So this takes a lot of time, and this is going to be we do have mechanisms, but it's still challenging. And procedural, the approach, that's what I was talking about. I know it's almost time's done, and evidentially challenging. It's pretty much the same thing. Some of the, I know when they send digital evidence based on their investigation, let's say in Guatemala, when they send it, how do we know that is original, the evidence they collect? As you know, the digital evidence, you can just manipulate, easily change, so those are the issues that we have in the collaborations. And therefore, we work together, even though we have challenges. The first job is to identify those challenges, but we want to work together for a better legal framework and the international collaboration and coordination, obviously. And I truly believe if we educate many young people who see this is the real challenges and issues in the future, and the young professionals, including police officers, it's better. And that will create the better collaborations. Many senior supervisors in the federal agencies in their mid-50s, they have no idea about all those digital evidence, but they know the importance. So this is the young people who will become the leaders in the areas and who has a good understanding of different disciplines about computer science, data science, legal and criminal justice, and how we're going to work together. I think that's very important. And also make some sort of standards. And that's why this conference is very important, to disseminate the knowledges and work together, different professionals in different regions of the world. So that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Choo. Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, any questions? Yes.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. It was very great. I'm looking forward to hear it. So you said it's about procedural justice, correct? Mm-hmm. So my question is, what if like the lawyer who is defending a person who is So my question is about the evidence. Mm-hmm. So how about AI generated evidence that no one hi. Okay. So my question is about the evidence that's generated by AI. So if AI generated evidence in court of law, and you said it is procedural justice, not actually justice, it's procedural justice. So what if the lawyer presented AI generated evidence that no one else can tell they are not true? How would you go about that, and what would be the impact of it? Thank you.
That's really a good question. And that's one of the major questions we are asking ourselves right now. And many legal experts are also trying to figure it out. And because we are not experts from the technology side, and a lot of times we needed to consultation and sort of, there are many different AI companies out there who could give us better advice what to do about those cases. So as far as I consider, the last time that I talked to one of the high-ranking officer in U.S. Department of Justice, they did not create AI relevant committee yet. But they are, so government is always behind there. Government always, so they started, I think, early this year, realize the impact of the scenarios that you just, shared. And that will deeply destroy the process of what we have. And because you do not have expertise in these areas, there could be a lot of issues in handling the cases like that. And I think that's going to be more and more. I don't believe it's going to be less and less in AI-generated evidence like that. I mean, but we will deal with almost daily. 5 years later, we will all, but people, even young, people, especially young people, they know how to generate and using AI tools. So it's very concerning. But to respond to your question, I really don't know. I really don't know, and that's deeply concerning me. And I think that's a great question for us what to do. And I think that once, like I said, there is a committees now to stabilize it, and also U.S. corporates like Meta and then Amazon and then also OpenAI, they are actually come together. Believe me that when we do this cybercrime investigation, there are always a team, the task force. We have law enforcement, and there's the U.S. attorneys behind it, and then there's a corporate. These corporate, without their expertise or technology, a lot of those cases were not able to solve. So we are working together, the U.S. corporate. I know some of the Googles and all these people are working together with U.S. task forces. Yeah.
Any other questions? Dr. Choo, I have one. You mentioned about all the technological challenges that's going to affect the digital forensic investigation. One of the challenges that we are facing right now is the storage size. So I'm looking from the technical perspective. I'm a computer science professor, so we came to know that we need to have a one-on-one copy of the exact device so that it will be admissible in the court. But when you think about the current storage sizes, this is becoming kind of out of scope. So what do you see in the future that the law needs to adjust with this particular challenges? I gave you just one example.
Yeah. That's.
If you can elaborate on that, that would be great.
I think you already know what's happening on our side. We got another problem of data storage. For example, as I said, that almost every local police, they have a body-worn camera, right? It's rolling it. Imagine in Boston, PD, police, we have almost 1,000 people, and they're responding. And by the time they return it, it's not only just in a couple of hours. 24 hours, you are rolling these videos, right? About 1,000 people just in here every day, 24 hours. Can you imagine the data? And like I said, most of the time you are responding after the crime is happening. So under the current situation, the most local police agencies, they could not afford the data, large number of data storage, but also how long you have to preserve that data set. Are you gonna just, for 10 years of all these, among humongous data in a database? So that's a really great question. We'll hope that, data science or the computer engineering experts will figure that out and give us some, advice. What is the best way handling that kind of, the issues that we have? A lot of commanders or the chief of police, they just say, okay, get rid of it. Just have more. So, but there is a legal issues because of some of the cases going back to like more than 5 or 10 years, right? But we were not able to afford that, to save that kind of data. But again, great questions. But I don't know what. I don't have an answer for that question. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? If not, you get a small kind of presentation certificate that we are going to award Dr. Choo for his efforts. Thank you so much, Dr. Choo.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very nice of you. Thank you so much. Thank you all again.
I can prove it.
Yeah, okay. So go ahead.
It's fine. I can do it. Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you, Dr. Casey. So now it's time for the coffee break, everyone. So you can start having the coffees all set up at the back. So we'll continue our session at 11 o'clock, okay, from all the presentation. Thank you.